Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So now we're going to take everything we've learned so far in the previous two videos, I should say, about adding and subtracting and apply this to some questions because the ones we worked on in the previous couple of videos, I'm hoping for you would have looked quite easy because you've done similar things in school so far. So I'm going to go through some slightly bigger and harder questions, and we're going to use mental addition and subtraction. So we're going to be adding and subtracting things in our head. And there are a couple of strategies that I'm going to talk about in this particular video, which are going to help us do this. So I've written here 25 plus 19. So you can notice immediately I'm using two-digit numbers and they're bigger numbers, right? So in this case, I'm not going to write an entire number line, start at 25 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way 19 spaces to the right. That was just to give you an idea of what we mean by adding numbers. But we noticed that after a while, we're going to get to big enough numbers where it's just going to be too time consuming to do it that way. So here, I'm going to introduce you to an idea for and a strategy for adding these numbers. And that is going to be what we call partitioning. So that's a pretty long and hard word, but what I'm going to do is that just means that I'm grouping my digits in the same position and adding separately. So let's write that in. Cool. So what I mean by that is you would have learnt in earlier schooling that in all of our numbers, we have these columns here. So we have a tens column, we have a ones column. As we get bigger numbers, we're going to have a hundreds column. So all we're going to do here is we're going to break up our numbers up here into nice round numbers, nice little bite-sized numbers here. So this 25, I can write that as 20 plus 5. Would you agree? I can break this number down. I've gotten 25 from having this whole number, this number in the tens column, 20, and adding that to a 5 in the ones column. So once I do this, I've broken down my 25. And I'm also, to that, I'm going to add, now let me just put some brackets here to show that this first one is meant to show the 25. And this 19, I'm going to write that as 10 plus 9. Cool. Okay, so now I have these numbers in a nice round kind of way. So I can now just work with my different numbers. Well, I have a 10 and a 20, and these are really nice round numbers. I can quite easily add those here. So 10 plus 20, well, that's going to give me 30. And I'll just save that for now. Now, 20 plus 10, I'm going to get 30. I've put that in brackets. And I'm going to also add these two here. So 5 more than 9. I can quickly do that with the number line idea, but I would encourage you that once you get used to this, the whole point is to not have to use the number line as much as we proceed, but you can use it here. So I start at 9, and I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 plus 9 is going to give me 14. So I have 20 plus 10. That gives me 30 plus And then 5 and 9 gives me 14. So now I'm adding 14 to a really nice round number 30. So I'm going to get here 44 because once again, I can split 14 up into 10 plus 4. And my 30 stays here. So 30 plus 10 gives me 40, plus 4 gives me 44. So this is an idea of partitioning. So breaking things, these big numbers, down into some nice round ones that make the addition easier. And I'll show you how this would work for an even harder question. So here I'm going to give you 132 plus 156. Now, this looks a little bit scarier to do in your head, but once again, I can break this up into smaller bits. So my 132, and sorry, let me move these across just so I can create a bit of space. So my 132, well, I can break that up into 100 plus 30 plus 2. So I have my 100. I have 100 in the hundreds column, 3 in the 30s, in the tens column, and 2 in the ones column. So I can break this number into this here. And to that, I'm adding 156. Let's do another color. I can break up into 100 plus 50 plus 6. And here, I can now start to add these separate bits together. Now, if I have and let me actually, sorry, I'll do one more line where I'm just grouping all of these together. So I'm going to group my hundreds here. So 100 plus 100. And if you remember from the previous video with my associative law, it doesn't matter which order I add these brackets in. I can it's always going to give me the same answer. Sorry, I should say. So let's move this across a little bit. And to that, we're adding 2 and 6. So I can work through these together now. And it's a lot easier. It's going to be way easier than what we would have had to do doing this in our head without a particular strategy, or with imagine writing 156 and 132 on a number line. It would just be too much. So we need these types of strategies now to get around these slightly harder questions. So I'm going to split off, I'm partitioning, I'm breaking these up into 3 groups. When I add 100 and 100 together, well, that's just going to give me these ones in the hundreds column are going to add. So that's going to give me 200. To that, I'm adding 30 and 50. So these are whole numbers. These are in tens. So I'm going to add the 3 and my 5. That's going to give me 80. And the final one, 2 plus 6. Hopefully we're comfortable with ones like this by now. We get 8. So adding everything together, well, I am going to get 200 in my hundreds column. I get 8 in my tens column and 8 in my ones column. So I wind up with 288 as my answer. So that is a summary of one strategy that we can do. This is what we call partitioning. So breaking this up into smaller, sort of more bite-sized ideas to add and subtract. Now, I realized that I didn't actually do any subtraction questions. So let me just do one more here. And to do this, I will try to do this with the partitioning strategy again. I'll give you one more question and we'll talk about the other strategy in the next video, just to make these as short as possible. Let's go 56 minus 18. So, in doing this, I'm going to break this up. Well, I want to find what's 18 less than 56. So to do that, I'm minusing here. So let's try to just break this one up into some more little bite-sized portions. So I'm going to get left with 56 here. And 18, well, I'm minusing 18 from that. And I can make 18 out of 10 and 8. So when I minus 18, I can think of from 56, I'm first minusing 10, and then I'm also going to minus 8 from all of that as well. Because 18 I can make up from 10 and 8, but we're subtracting here. So I'm first going to take away 10, then I'm going to take away 8 here. So looking at this, I get, well, 56 minus 10, that gives me, because I'm doing this in more bite-sized pieces, 56 minus 10, well, that just gives us 46. And from that, I am subtracting 8. So hopefully you guys can do this in your head, but let me just illustrate it on a number line, just in case. Now, if I'm starting at 46, I have 45, 44, 43, 42, 41, 40, 39, 38. I'm starting at 46 and I'm minusing 8. I'm expecting a smaller number here. So I'm going to go in the left direction here. So I'm going to go 8 spots to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I wind up with 38 as my answer. So 56 minus 18, by partitioning this off, by breaking it up into smaller bits, 56 minus 18, that gives me 38. And you can see how we got this. I just broke up the 18 into smaller bits. So if I take away 18 from something, that's the same as first taking away 10 from that and then taking away 8 as well. So think about it if you wanted to pay your friend back, right? Say you owe your friend $18, but say you don't have all of the money on you at the moment. You can first pay your friend back by giving them 10. So you're minusing $10 from what you currently own. And then you have to give them the other 8 as well. So you're going to minus 8 as well. This is an example of how, with subtraction questions, we can use partitioning as well. But they're actually very useful, particularly with these big addition questions too. So we'll talk about another strategy in the next video. That's going to be what we call compensating. So we'll talk about that later, and that will bring us in the next video to the end of mental addition and subtraction. So we're going to get another 2-part video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you there.